welcome to another episode of Amasec and Archaeotech with me, Mitch.
And me, Ched. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well.
Yes, well, we've got some exciting bits and pieces on today's show. Number one, we're going to go through some hobby roundup. We're going to have a look at some releases. We're going to do a little speculation because there's a Warhammer preview event happening the very evening, Friday the 18th. The day we're recording. And we have a special little piece of the podcast today. And what is that, Ched?
We have a wonderful special guest by the nature of Richard Reed, the voice actor from things such as Space Marine 2, Warhammer, Total War, a plethora of audiobooks you may recognise, such as The Infinite and Devine, the voice of Trajan himself.
Indeed, he's here. He's here for us tonight. One night only. Cool. Well, before we get on to that, what have you been hobbying, Ched?
Unfortunately, I've been busy, but I'm eager to get my hands on the new Saturn box coming next weekend.
So what's the first model you're going to crack open? That's the question.
Oh, good shout. I want to read the books because I want to figure out which version of the disintegrator weapons I'm going to want to field. So when I figured that out, then I'll equip my Mark II and build them. I may just go completely rogue and do the bloody turret.
Who would you paint the turret as, though? That's the question.
You know what? I just paint it generic and then I could use it for either or.
That's smart. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, apparently there's meant to be a Space Marine in it, but who's going to know?
What about you? Oh, you didn't buy any models?
No, and it turns out I didn't buy any books either, mate. I thought I brought it,
No.
and it turns out I haven't brought it, so I haven't brought anything.
Oh, no. Well, you best hurry up.
I know. Well, I'm just trying to figure out what I need to add to it. So what I've been hobbying is what I'm potentially doing for a Game of Skulls, no, Throne of Skulls event that I'm going to Warhammer World in September.
It's not the duo, everyone. The duo has parted ways for this event.
It has separated. There was many tiers.
I was meant to be going on holiday that week, and I don't think I am anymore. So there we go.
Oh dear. Well, there might be a ticket left.
Just doubles.
No. It's not doubles.
What?
It's singles.
Oh.
So yeah, have a little look.
Ooh la la.
It might be. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, that's a full 3,000 points. So I need to get 3,000 points worth of.
An army.
Yeah, I'm probably going to take knights just because A, I can use them, and B, they are changing quite a bit. So I'll probably get that Liber. But with that, I'm also potentially building another knight to go with them. So I've, instead of going mechanical, which is what I have been doing with my Phalanx, I've now gone full butterfly, and now I'm potentially building another knight instead.
Oh, goodness. Okay. A big boy.
Yeah, a big boy.
Just build your Titan. God damn.
No, because there's no way I'll get it in time.
Not with that attitude.
No, not at all.
3 colours, mate. There you go.
Yep, 3 colours and done. That was worth it.
Spray black, dry brush, paint the eyes.
And I'm done, yeah. Absolute worth putting that together.
One shoulder. Paint one shoulder.
Yeah. It's all legal, mate. It's all legal. Do me for it, yeah. My hobby has been spending the day painting armor panels and different themes and different colours to try and figure out what I want to do. So new releases are what they are, Saturn, all that good stuff. I guess the only piece of like actual new release is the fact that there was a Warcom article about legacies. And they've now listed all of the legacy units that will be included in the legacy list.
Yes, luckily the Sanctifier squad I've not yet finished building, not yet finished painting, are on there, so I can at least use that in the upcoming edition.
That's good.
Because I thought that would be wiped out for a while. So both the Salamander squads in there, Adherents and Sanctifiers. Probably the keen-eyed amongst you will have noticed something that is missing from that and maybe something else, which means it might be in a book and it might get rules, so therefore there could be a model announced.
What model? You've lost me there.
Well, if the PDF's released about all the legacy units, right?
Yeah.
Because the legacy units aren't in the new books.
Yes, yet.
So someone might have found something thinking, well, that's not in the PDF. It's not the Libers because, there have been leaks. So, and they might have put two and two together and discovered what, that's a bit odd.
What could be on this preview?
Maybe that's going to exactly what's going to get a model. So,
well, I have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
So I haven't got a clue.
No, neither do I.
So what do you think is happening then?
Speculation, mate.
I'll speculate on today's preview. What do you reckon we're going to get?
Right. So we know we're getting a super heavy Fellblade, right, in plastic.
Yes.
We know that's coming. We know we're getting Mark II Assault Marine.
Yes.
I'm wondering if it'll just be oh yeah, the Saturn Terminators are coming for you to buy on their own. I'm wondering if it's just going to be that.
I don't think it's going to be that. I just think it's going to be, they showed us a little bit of, Cataphracti with a Volkite pistol or one of that Mechanicum weird thing.
They were teasing the spear, weren't they? So I think it's going to be more plastic Custodian models.
I don't think we're going to have anything more than what we have already had a little preview of. Do you know what I mean? I don't think we're going to see anything new at all that we haven't already seen something of. What would you love to see?
Glaive. Okay, give me the glaive. God damn it, give me the glaive.
Give me the glaive.
The biggest Volkite beam to sweep across the field.
What would I love to see? I would love to see a different knight. I think that would be pretty sweet. Whichever one's the Mechanicum one that fires vortexes out of its arm. I'd love to see that in plastic, just because.
Thank God you said arm. Okay, yeah, more plastic knights.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Or actually, no, I take it back. A plastic flyer would be lovely. Because, flyers are back, baby.
Cool. Well, I think that's enough for speculation from us, and I'm sure the people are dying to listen to the main event. So, shall we crack on?
Let's. Welcome to the show, Richard Reed, a voice actor known for his work on Space Marine 2, Angels of Death, Hammer and Bolter, Rogue Trader, Warhammer Total War, and many, 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 many others. If you go on his IMDb, you will see quite a collection of items on there. So welcome to the podcast, Richard. An absolute pleasure to have you.
Hello. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
First question. Have you ever dabbled in the forbidden art of miniature wargaming?
Well, I've dabbled in the painting side. I've never actually played a game of tabletop yet, which I'm kind of like ready to do because I found it incredibly daunting. Like I sometimes watch people on YouTube play tabletop, but I mainly paint, which I love. And I read the books too.
Awesome. And you paint. So do you have a favorite model?
So I do like my Age of Sigmar ogres, and they're sort of, I like the big lads, and I also quite like a Troggoth, which was cool. So basically, I've mainly only painted in Age of Sigmar. I do have some Space Marines, but they're in my pile of shame.
Oh, already the pile of shame is spoken about.
It's kind of it's come up quick, and I want to do Imperial Fists, but I'm too nervous to do the yellow. So I've got like a trial. I've got a trial Space Marine who looks like so sort of butchered and Frankenstein with all these sort of color changes. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Interesting. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, one of my questions was if you were to choose a Heresy era Legion, I'm taking that will be Imperial Fists then, or would there be a curveball?
I think so. So I'm going to sort of drop a clanger here and say that my heresy knowledge is probably the thinnest out of all of them. I know the chapters, well, for the most part. But yeah, I think Imperial Fists, mainly because I think thematically they're just... Bless them, they're kind of a bit dull, where they just like, I will stand and guard. It's like, okay, great, man. Yeah. So
defend the fort, nice.
Yeah, they just want to defend stuff, and I kind of, and I do like the yellow as well, and I think Ultramarines and things like that can be. I know they're not strictly heresy, I guess, but they can be a little bit dull. Bless them as well, because they're used so much. I do like Blood Angels. I find them really interesting. They're thematically very interesting. Imperial Fists, not at all. Bless them.
No, I can definitely see that. Although to be fair, yellow does look nice on a tabletop. It does pop well.
It does, yeah. And I really like yellow and black. So I'm in Space Marine 2. I have my sort of obviously my character, Space Marine, and I've put him yellow and black Imperial Fists.
Nice.
And it sort of picks up gore nicely as well.
You know when you've really chainsawed through someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, Ultramarines and Imperial Fists, you've chosen, two, I'd say, the more boring on the side of things, but
Yes.
interesting nonetheless. And they have a bit more flex in Heresy than they do maybe in 40k. So
okay.
Yeah, there's a bit more variety, I think, with the elite units, right?
Yeah, definitely. So maybe next time we'll get you on the pod, and we'll see how you progress through, and you might even be starting a Heresy army just in time for 3.0. Who knows?
I know. It could be. I mean, I did do a couple of Heresy audio dramas and things like that, which are sort of like their own little stories within the Heresy itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't they don't contain the grand themes of what's going on. However, that they were really fun to do, and the intrigue behind it. And I read Horus Rising.
Oh, classic.
Yep.
Yeah. So that I have dabbled.
Nice. Oh, you'll have to let us know which ones you've read so I can listen, add them to the reading list.
Oh yeah, cool. I will do.
Actually, speaking of Space Marine 2, I was just wondering what you sort of made of the success of it.
Oh, it's been great, yeah. I mean, I wasn't surprised, to be honest. I mean, me and my partner, called Elsie Lovelock, we sort of we saw the demo, and it was released maybe in, I don't know, the summertime, and it was publicly released. And me and Elsie play Astra Militarum, and all you could hear was just me and her popping off, going like, switching power pack and everything. It was just me and her, and we were just looking at us like, oh, this is going to be cool.
Yeah,
and it did turn out to be cool, and it got better as as that sort of like final stand that they do towards the end of the game. Fantastic. So I wasn't surprised.
I'll go for a slightly different one. What is the silliest Warhammer word you've ever encountered? Or hardest to pronounce, I guess. What has been the trickiest sort of...
Anything Adeptus Mechanicus, my goodness, because they're really, really hard, because you have to be... It's like Star Trek with Geordie LaForge, and the actor basically has to reel out all this technical jargon, but make it sound second nature.
Oh, yeah.
And with the Adeptus Mechanicus, you kind of have to do it at a pace as well, because you also need to sound like you know what you're saying. So that's really hard. So you have to be robotic, fast, and with all this technical jargon. That's really difficult.
Wow, that's there's a lot going on. You're spinning a lot of plates.
Yeah, very much so. Whenever I see it, especially in an audiobook, I'm like, oh no. Here we go again.
Oh yeah, on that, is there anyone or a guide or anyone you're in contact with for pronunciations, or is it just your own interpretation?
No, they're very good actually with pronunciations. Most jobs that I've been on, they give you a guide, a pronunciation guide.
Wow. Even
for stuff like Astra Militarum, for example, even things that you'd think, okay, maybe I've got this in the bag. They want to cover all bases.
Sure, right, nice.
Yeah, so they're good like that.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Because the one for me has always been Zinch. What? Wait,
Zinch.
See, years and years you read that, and it doesn't sound like anything like I would say it.
Well, a couple of times now and again, especially with Zinch, I'd be in a job, and maybe someone would go, like one of the engineers or director would be go like, say something completely different, and I have to go, actually, I think you find, I have to be that guy. But to be honest, they want it to be very, very consistent, obviously, across all brands, and Zinch is in pretty much every single kind of game, if you like.
Yeah.
So they really want to be strict with their IP and getting things right.
I imagine it's some sort of dusty leather-bound tome that comes out, or
Yeah, or just a normal PDF. Yeah. Oh, I'd love it if we get like a sort of courier just to give us this sort of leather-bound tome with some sort of heretical kind of symbols on the front. But yeah, budget.
So I have been listening to Renegade's Lord of Excess.
Oh yeah, cool.
What is it like to read things aloud where a man is pulling out his own insides?
Quite liberating, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to often do those in everyday scenarios. Yeah, that was actually a really fun book because it was. It was still in the sort of Warhammer tone of quite serious, but it also was just silly.
Mm.
And I'm not going to give any spoilers away for people that like it, but there is a small section of the book where a ship crashes because the captain is too busy looking at his gaze, like looking at himself in the mirror. So he's like, I am so beautiful. They're like, Captain, we're going to crash. And he's like, no, I'm too distracted. Just sort of things like that.
Yeah, it still keeps the sort of the tongue-in-cheek of the sort of more earlier Games Workshop kind of things. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the voice of the. He's not quite the governor, is he? But he wants to be the governor.
Oh yes, yeah, that kind of guy.
Yeah, sort of very pompous, kind of a bit, gammony kind of.
Yeah, very much so. And I think he's described as having sort of blonde, like floppy hair. So I think you can make an image of that. Of whatever you may want to.
Yes.
But yeah, he was fun too.
Enjoys parties, perhaps.
Yeah, he likes parties and political intrigue.
Very good. So who is your favourite character in the Warhammer universe?
Oh, that's such a tricky
big ones.
question, because I think one that is really near and dear to my heart. I don't know if I've got favourites, but near and dear to my heart is probably Cetra the Imperishable from Total War Warhammer 2, who's in the fantasy universe. And I think because that was kind of my entry into Warhammer gaming, so that kind of gave me a bit of a springboard. And he was a really fun character to play anyway. He's sort of insulting lizard men and like bashing the elves because he's probably the most arrogant character in all of any of the Warhammer universes.
Yeah.
So even when he like dies, he's like a sort of almost like a corpse. Well, he's basically a mummy, and he's sort of like rushing into the hordes of chaos, and his last scene as the world explodes. But yeah, no, he was probably my favorite because it was like a stepping stone onto other things. Because I had that job, I could say I've done this, and then I've got quite a good character range, so I could do lots of other bits.
Wow.
And I also like Trazyn and Orican from the book Infinite The Devine. They're really fun characters too.
Yeah, Mitch is a big fan of Necrons, aren't you?
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that book as well, purely because it's similar to what you were talking about with Lords of Excess, in that it's got a bit of comedy to it. These two characters. There's that you can have, they're having fun in the universe rather than it being all so bleak and dark at times. So even when it is bleak and dark,
it is comedic, but there are some really sort of like dark and sad moments in that book, so or maybe kind of like existential.
Absolutely.
There's a scene that I'm thinking about where Trazyn is basically doing some scientific research or something like that, and he's talking to this man, and he's realized that the man is like, I'm retiring now, and he's like, what are you talking about retiring? And he's realized that he's basically lived his entire life like working for Trazyn, and because time is of no importance to Necrons, it was just like, oh, I just thought it was like another day, and it's like his whole life, and he basically just sort of spent his entire life working for a Necron in disguise. So he was like none the wiser.
Brilliant. So you mentioned Total War 2 being your first job into Warhammer. Were you aware of Warhammer sort of before that? Was it something you wanted to get into, or is it something that came up you did and you then wanted to explore more of?
I was always aware of it. I mean, it was always in the sort of ether, but it wasn't, none of my friends played Warhammer, and I was kind of like, Charlie from Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, looking in at all the sweets, thinking, that looks really cool, but I never really played it. And then the trailer for the first Total War Warhammer came out, I know. To be fair, take it back. During uni, I played the MMO, Age of Reckoning.
Oh yeah,
which is another fantasy one. But then I saw Total War Warhammer, the trailer, come out, and I was thinking, this is cool. And I'd only been out of drama school maybe a couple of years, and I was just thinking, I want to get on that. So I basically did my research and try and, integrate myself with people who worked on it and did some networking and a bit more training. And then that's sort of how it came about. But yeah, it was always on this sort of periphery, but I never dived into it.
Come some way now then.
Yeah. And it sort of suckered me right in because I do love it. Like, I genuinely love all of the universes anyway. I'm not some sort of person who's just, oh, it looks fun, I just want to do it. I do really like it now. And I find all the lore fascinating. I mean, the lore is so deep. I mean, I haven't even scratched the surface on a lot of it. But yeah, I just think it's so cool. So, and it's just like, I liked Star Wars as a kid, and just to see, it's almost like adult Star Wars in a way, where you're just getting, massive ships or massive, and I like history too. So that's where, and Lord of the Rings, so that's where the fantasy element comes in. I just think it's awesome. I love it.
It is an amazing melting pot of all kinds of influences and history, and it's you can't say they've done anything new, but what you can say is they've created something new. I think
it's almost like a magpie kind of feel, where they sort of take bits inspiration from other areas and then just sort of make it their own, which all art is kind of similar to that anyway, so they're not exactly new in that respect. But yeah, it's all good fun, and it can be more than just people in power armor going pew pew. You can have like, which is great, but you can also have really deep stories, and that's the good thing about Infinite and the Devine, for example. You get some really human stories come out of it from the perspective of basically non-humans.
Yeah, certainly. And also, going on from what you talking about when you did the short stories in the Heresy, I find that a lot of those, because they're not the big grand narrative, they're actually really interesting morsels into a little part or a little glimpse into something that you wouldn't have time to see in a bigger story arc.
It's kind of like, looking at the Roman Empire and then thinking, okay, this is some broad epic tale of history, but then picking up on sort of, micro events in that time, which are just as interesting, if not more.
Speaking of Total War 2 being the first job, what was the very first job? How did you get into the voice acting?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I trained at drama school, and in that training, you get to do we got to do some radio drama work, like radio plays and things like that, like clips from The Archers and, just little bits of that. And I really liked it. And I thought, oh, this is fun. So this kind of seems like a pattern in my career where I just like something, but I was more drawn to it than, say, TV. I wasn't very good at TV, but then I sort of met up with a director from my drama school who gave me a few jobs, and I did some jobs for the British Museum, and I did some jobs at Audible, sort of background bits here and there, and I just sort of kept chipping away at it, really, and just started doing, bigger bits and pieces from there. But it basically started from a very nice director at my drama school taking me under her wing and letting me play in the studios at Audible.
Nice.
Very cool.
That's really cool. I actually have in my Audible, I have a Dracula and like vampire stories collection. I believe your name's come up on that.
Yeah, well, I did, there's so many different iterations of Dracula, but I was in a Dracula.
How's the neck?
Yeah, a little bit tender. But no, it was cool because I hadn't actually fully read, I've known Dracula the story from, I love the Gary Oldman Dracula. That's probably one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
but I hadn't actually read the story. So to be part of the actual story where it's like newspaper cuttings, and there's a scene in it where I play like a zookeeper, but it's written in old school Cockney, and it was really difficult. And it was, I think I had to do a couple takes because it was hard getting that old school Cockney, because my family are from London, but it was just really old school, like 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was good.
Which projects have you been most excited to work on?
As I say, Total War Warhammer 2, when I got that, I was like, ooh. I remember actually sitting on the sofa and I was just sort of scrolling through my emails, and they're like, you got the role. And I'm like, cool. But yeah, and then, get back to whatever else I was doing. But yeah, that Space Marine 2, Diablo 4 was a big compliment as well. I really like Diablo anyway. It's mainly projects that I like in general, which I get to be a part of, which is really fun. So Dragon Quest was cool as well. Like, I'd always wanted to be part of like the Dragon Quest world. So doing Dragon Quest 3 was great fun. Yeah, loads of stuff. Blasphemous 2, that was another good one, because I really liked the first Blasphemous, the video game.
I haven't played those, but if there's anything that looks grimdark from the art style, it is that. That is some serious.
Yeah. Well, the music's really good.
I was going to say, isn't it Diablo with the banging soundtrack?
Yeah, it's kind of like Diablo aesthetics with, sort of Spanish style guitars.
Yes, yeah, that's cracking.
It's kind of got like, the music's got like, this Spanish feel, but Victorian Gothic as well. It's really cool. But yeah, they're some of the ones that I was really proud to be a part of. And I think the first Warhammer animation, Angels of Death.
Oh, yes, yeah.
That was a really cool thing to be a part of because it hadn't been done before.
No, I remember watching that and really enjoying it. Did you voice the Tech Marine? Is that correct?
Yeah, I voiced Hadriel, and I also voiced one of the baddies, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, so nice. I played a goodie and a baddie.
Oh, that's great. Best of both worlds.
Range,
yeah, exactly. Don't need anyone else. Just you fighting off against each other. That's it.
Yeah. That has happened a few times, which is, it's always like the cringe thing. But it has been it has happened a couple of times where I voice a character and then I'm instantly voicing another character directly afterwards.
Oh, wow. So that would happen in like a fluid take, one after the other sort of thing?
Probably not one after the other. I'd probably like do my sort of takes of one character, then do another. But well, definitely for audio books, you're gonna do like multiple characters after the other. It's just like one continuous stream.
Oh, nice. Okay, so when it comes to narrating a book versus kind of the game stuff, is there a different approach that you have?
Yeah. There's going to be a slightly different approach to everything that you do. Like, so people say acting is acting, but that's like saying food is food, where, there's so many different types of variations that you can do even on the same type of food. So with a book, it's very different. You sort of take a lot more time to prepare it. You make your sort of notes in the script. You mark up all your characters I do in different colors. So I color code them so I know who's talking for the most part. And obviously you're doing it all yourself. So you have nobody else to work off. It's just you and you alone. And sometimes in a video game, you're still on your own, but sometimes you might have a feeder line from another actor. So you have something to act off against. But yeah, so, and obviously, well, this makes a difference, but you sit down when you're doing an audiobook, stand up when you're doing a video game because it's more fluid. You can get it in your body a bit more. With a book, it's more performative in the sense of like you're reading a book to somebody, basically. Wow. So you don't necessarily need to stand up.
Okay. And are you able to do this? Is it like home working a lot of the time, or do you go into studios and record?
Well, it depends, really. It's maybe like 50-50.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll work from home, and then sometimes I go into a studio.
I'm just imagining the old Matt Berry toast sort of, can you hear me, Clem Fandango, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple of jobs like that. Yeah. When he goes up periscope, down periscope, and fire the nuclear weapons. Yeah.
Very good. When you do audiobooks, there's time frames, right? In the studio, you only have so much studio time. Like how is that monitored? Obviously, back in the day with film, it was you've got this much amount of film we've got to go through, or the left. Is it just we've got this one day, you've got to get it done?
Oh man, no. If I did it in a day, I'd be Superman. You're right, where time is money, so you can't take ages.
Yeah.
But there's a sort of a rough estimate of words that you can do a day, which they factor in, and they basically judge the amount of words that a story has by the amount of time it would take you.
Got you.
I can't remember the exact amount, but I probably do 5-6 hours a day doing a book.
Wow.
And then, you take, say a book's about 10 hours, 11 hours, but you probably, you still it won't take you, say, 2 days to record a 10-hour book. It probably would take you maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Just because of fluffs and things like that, because everybody makes mistakes. There's nobody who doesn't make a mistake when recording a book.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I couldn't even say, I can't even remember how you pronounce it now, Zinch. I can't even say that. So imagine when you have to come with that. Every time that came up, I'd be like, no, cut it. I've got to remember what it is.
Have it said once and then just insert it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Zinch. So sometimes there's like a word, if you're like doing a story for a long time and you're getting a bit tired and you've got a bit of brain fog, occasionally there's a word that I just cannot get. And we'll do take after take after take. And it's happened maybe once or twice where we have just dropped it in. So I'll say the line, like you say, I'll be like, yeah, Zinch. And then I'll just carry on. I just like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, but that hasn't happened too many, but it has happened.
Of course. A professional, Richard. You're a professional.
Of course, yeah. That's it.
Do you have, for the long hours, any sort of exercises, vocal warm-ups, I imagine, that you're doing?
Don't tell my voice acting teachers, but no.
Oh, just go in.
That's not strictly true. At the start, I'll just go in. But if you're doing, especially in a book that's a big Space Marine battles book, which is a sort of a group of books, they're obviously based on Space Marine battles. So I think I did the Fall of Damnos, which was one, and it's just big. It's Necrons versus Space Marines. You got your toys, you're smashing them together, and it was basically 4 or 5 days of big stuff.
Wow.
And so maybe day 3, I started to do a little bit of warm up and just gentle humming, just stuff to kind of like wake the voice up a bit. But generally speaking, I'm pretty good, and I can just go in.
Because some of the voices, I guess, are a bit of a weird way to use your voice, and doing them for extended periods must be a bit straining.
It can be, but I think it was at the start, but I'm experienced at it now, and I think it's like is his name David Hayter, who was in Metal Gear Solid?
Oh yes, yeah, Snake.
Yeah, who voiced Snake, and basically, yeah, David Hayter. He basically said that the first time he did Snake, his voice was a wreck, and then when he did the other games, he leaned into it a bit more, and it sat in a place that was naturally much more comfortable that he could do for hours. And that's basically where you get doing audiobooks and any kind of voice work. The more experienced you are, the easier it sits in your sort of voice. So you should be less vocally tired.
On that, what is the most difficult voice you've ever had to do? Can you recall?
In terms of like strenuousness,
even for your own self, being like, God, that's going to stick with me for a while, having to do that for however long it was.
Yeah, maybe one you don't want to go back to in a hurry.
Yeah, it's usually, as I said before, it's usually something Adeptus Mechanicus related, where it's all like that sort of thing, where you kind of just grinding your voice. And I'm like, if I see a monologue, I'm like, oh no.
Bloody robots again.
Yeah. God. But something like that, usually with like really big characters and orcs, and I could do them for ages, no trouble at all. But yeah, anything that's got like a grindingness, like loads of texture to the voice, and something that you have to kind of like force and restrict your vocal cords to do, that can be, pretty tiring.
And on the flip side of this coin, what is your favorite voice that you've done?
I did an Usheran book recently, which is, I don't know if you know, but he's from Age of Sigmar, and he's basically the king of the ghouls. And he kind of had almost like a vampiric kind of sounding voice, which was regal, but also, soft in places. And I found him really interesting as a character because, he's this grotesque being, but he's loved by his people. Humans think he's some sort of disgusting ghoul king. And to his people, he's this majestic, beautiful being. So it was kind of cool to have a character that was like that.
Am I right in thinking, because I did read a little bit about this, but they're basically in an old world parlance, don't they think that they're like Bretonian in their sort of, they literally think their kingdoms are in their own malaise, actually that's how they vision everything. But obviously for everyone else, they are these horrible, ghoulish, sort of Nosferatu-esque
they're more Nosferatu than sort of Dracula, and they're even shunned by some of their own sort of more vampiric cousins. But yeah, very much so. And I think that's really interesting where you get, it's all about perspective and subjectivity. To humans, they're sort of gnawing on bones, but to themselves, they're eating fine, succulent meats.
Wow.
And yeah, I just think it's like a cool theme. And like reading that book, it kind of makes you think, oh, okay, who are the real ghouls in this story? Who are the real nightmares?
Am I the ghoul as the reader?
Yeah. I think we all have a moment where we feel ghoulish, but yeah.
Yeah, most mornings for me.
Yeah.
Pre-coffee, yeah. So for someone getting into the industry, what would be maybe your best tidbits of advice?
So to get into the industry, it's, well, first off, training. So basically reading scripts, having some coaching done, maybe doing some theatre or improv, any basic skill of acting. Like, as I say, it's like cooking. You go to cooking school, you should go to an acting school or acting classes, and then research equipment. Unfortunately, it's basically any business where you have to have startup costs.
Right.
So it costs to get in,
sure,
which can be daunting. But once you're there, you're pretty much there. So yeah, I think obviously training, then researching equipment, what to do. Mic technique is really important as well. Some people just go into the studio, they have no idea what to do, what type of clothes to wear. Don't wear like jingy jangly sort of jewelry.
Togas it is then.
And basically that, and networking too. People have to know who you are in a good way.
Not that guy wears a toga again. God.
Yeah. Here I am. No, not him. Go away.
Yeah, I like to do find a little quote in some old Warhammer books at the end of each show. So
okay,
I will take this on board for improvement of my technique.
Yeah, do. And practice makes perfect. Like,
of course,
I think it helps that I just sort of have spent my life doing voices for my toys, like when I was playing like with my toys as a kid, as my action men and things like that, and then just sort of video games helped me. So anything that you like, and also just to have hobbies as well, because it's really boring when an actor just talks about acting, and that's their only thing that they like. Just have hobbies, have interests outside this industry, because that makes you a better actor.
Yeah, of course. So would you say history was an outside influence?
Yeah, history is a good one for me. And music as well. I think it helps if you're musically in tune.
Okay, I'll got that one down then.
Good.
I'm a musician on the side as well.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Well, that genuinely does really help because the technicalities of recording audio.
Yeah.
And also just the musicality of a voice line, for example.
Yeah, like a rhythm to a melody sort of.
Yeah, voice acting, it's not parroting, but you have to be believable in the universe that you're in. So I don't think I could do an anime style performance necessarily in a Warhammer Horus Heresy kind of environment.
Yeah.
It might be interesting, but I don't think it'd be believable.
No, sure.
And I guess that does tie in with what you were saying earlier about getting into the lore and understanding the lore and enjoying the space and the place. I guess like any project, you need to do a bit of research into what it is, the characters, there's motivations, that kind of thing, I imagine.
Yeah. And also, once you've got the technicalities down and you're spending a lot of time on, the more complicated side of things, you strip it all back and you just go nice and simple, as it were. And if you've got to basically act a scene, if you've got a scene where you're under enemy fire, your squad is being wiped out and you're close to death yourself, you have to scream and shout like that's happening. And it sounds simple, and it is once you get it, but you just kind of just have to act the scene. If your child has gone missing and you're distraught, act distraught.
Yeah.
And you just have to act distraught. You don't act what you think being distraught is. You act distraught.
So you don't need to get the sound engineer coming in throwing stuff at you, or you?
Yeah, well, maybe after take 5 when you're not getting it.
Time is money.
Yeah.
Are there like versions of voice actors that you're aware of? You know how like an acting like Methodist, like there's. Are there anything like that you know of, or?
Yeah, everybody's got their kind of own approach. Some people, what you tend to get in voice acting is more like some people just do their voice. So they will act a character in their own voice and they won't switch it up. And then you get other actors who come in who do a lot of different characters. So I might get called in to do maybe 3 or 4 characters, whereas somebody who doesn't have as much range will do 1.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean anybody's better or worse than the other person. It's just that's the kind of style that's more common in voice acting. In terms of method, you don't have time to go into method because you've got maybe 2 hours in a video game to record your work. You basically just play the scene. So you have your basic character. Am I a general? Okay. And I'm a confident general. Okay, fine. I'll play the scene as a confident general in a battle. Or am I a timid, shell-shocked private? Okay, I'll play that whilst getting blown up, basically. So you just play the scene.
In terms of direction, there would be an audio director with that, and that's where you're getting those cues from, and then you've got play within that?
Yeah, you get your script, and obviously hopefully you'll have a director. Not always, but most of the time you have a director there, and you'll do maybe 2 or 3 takes of a line, and the line will say, I know we're talk about war a lot, but I guess it's on trend. But the line will say like "get to cover," and then next to it will be like "there's an explosion, debris is falling around you." So you just say the line, and then you do 3 versions of it, and then they'll choose their favorite.
Okay.
And sometimes you can mix it up. I personally like to stick to the script. I like to respect the writer's work. Maybe because I do books as well, but I like to respect the writer and the time that they've taken to put into the writing. So very rarely will I go off script. Also for games, it can be a real pain if you go off script because they have to retype in the subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen a couple where, not in anything that I've done, but when playing a game, where an actor will say a line and the dialogue, the subtitles is completely different. And that's probably because they've gone off script in the session and they didn't tell them down the line to change it. Because, there's so many layers in making a game that things get lost.
And of course, also localization. That must be a real pain in the bum for different languages and trying to get.
Especially with localization, especially if you're doing a foreign game in a cutscene, for example, you have to stick to the script because also it's just fair for the other actor that's originally recorded it, just to not do a whole different kind of thing.
You mean you don't do your own Spanish version?
Yeah, not yet.
Okay. Have you ever gotten to meet or talk to one of the authors then before you've recorded, or even after?
I think I've spoken to Robert Rath, but generally, and Del Lucas I have, but generally, not really. It's kind of a good idea not to talk to the writer.
Oh, okay.
But because the writer will have their own idea, which is fine, but it can sometimes complicate the process. And they say, "Oh no, I always thought that line was like this," and you're like, "We really don't have time to go on. We've got 10 hours of recording to go." So
you don't want to get micromanaged.
Yeah, that's basically it. If you're getting micromanaged, and I'm not criticizing the writers at all, because it's their baby, it's their creation, but it's almost like it gets diluted along the way. But actors put in their own, spin on things, and it could be slightly different. It might even be a bit better, but it's usually better not to have the writer in.
We've spoken mostly about Warhammer franchise. Is there a particular franchise that you want to do that you've not gotten into yet? Maybe like you mentioned Star Wars, or sort of the DC Marvel animations, that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, they would be a complete pipe dream, because Disney is so kind of they'll just hire, rightly so, A-listers. So things like DC and Disney aren't really on my vision field, because it's be like a gold mine or something. But I mean, I wouldn't turn it down. If they were like, "Do you want to do it?" I'd be like, no, you weren't in my periphery. No, of course I'd do it. I've done a bit of Dungeons and Dragons, but more in that area. I love D&D, so something like that. Basically, I just like working. So anything that anybody asks me to do within reason, I'll do it. And be happy to do it, because it is, you are freelance. And when you're a jobbing actor, it is a bit like you're going from one job to the next, and you can think, oh gosh, when's the next job going to come?
Yeah.
So anything that comes your way, as I say, within reason, is good stuff. But yeah, D&D would be great to do.
Don't have to jump on the erotic novels just yet.
Not yet. Although, they serve their purpose.
Yeah.
And they kind of look a bit fun, to be honest. Their artwork, where they have a sort of a pirate sort of swooping in,
yes, yeah,
and a lady. They're just silly and fun.
Well, we've run out of our main bulk of questions. Do you have any questions for us?
Well, what got you into the hobby?
Oh, many years ago, when we were little lads.
Wee little lads.
Yeah, I think we went to a Warhammer shop. You'd already started, and then that was it. And then we, I don't know, had a lot of grand ideas about big armies, and ended up sort of going in together. So
Yeah.
we've recently found a lot of old models, and sort of I'd painted some, but they were in your possession. And then I found a few things that were like painted by you, and all sorts of various bits of Steel Legion was one of them.
Yeah.
Which is a favourite of mine. And then we sort of fell out of it, kept our eye in on it for a while, and then we were watching Heresy when it first released, and we bought the first Black Book again together, 2's up on it, but didn't quite go for it at the time.
Our salaries would not have been a match to the cost of the resin, and the resin mines,
The resin mines. It is expensive, but I guess it's nice to hear that you kind of had a pile of shame as well, that everybody does.
Oh yes, yeah. My pile of shame is much to the chagrin of my partner here.
I don't know about you, but guys, but it kind of just gets a bit intimidating sometimes. I'm like, I've only got like 3 dwarves on my sort of on my desk that I'm going painting at the moment, but every time I just feel guilty for not finishing them, and then I just sort of hide them away. I don't look at them. I'm like, I can't look at you. You're not finished yet.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, things have to go away, and then you open the cupboard again. You're like, oh damn, I forgot to do the base. It's like 90% done.
Yeah.
That definitely. I think the key is though is just to remember that this is for fun.
Yeah.
This is meant to be your chill time, and if it's not, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then stop and go do something else. There are times like, I say that I am the absolute king of, I've got a deadline, I've got to get this done, I've got to be up all night to paint because I've got a tournament or something that's happening, an event.
Yeah.
But equally, a deadline does help as well, push through sometimes those blocks. So if you've got even just a friendly bout with a friend, when you get up enough points for it for your AOS / Old World's Army, then you've got a deadline, you want to get them painted, that can help. I mean, the real world will love to throw everything it can to prevent that from happening.
You just kind of like deflect it like Neo in the Matrix.
Bullet time just with a paintbrush in your hand.
That's right.
Oh, well, this has been absolutely fabulous.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for your time. And if you ever want an intro game to Heresy, hook us up.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Thank you very much for having me around. Thank you.
It's been brilliant.
So, Ched, how did you find that?
Well, I'm still pinching myself, mate. I can't believe that's just happened. That's really very cool.
Yeah, it was lovely for Richard to take some of his time and answer some of our stupid questions. So
rank amateur. Yeah, I look forward to maybe getting a game and getting back on the pod sometime in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolute pleasure. So thanks again, Richard, for spending some time with us.
Well, I am eager then to put some of these tips into practice and have a go at a bit of voice acting for the end quote, mate.
Go for it.
Let's see what I can conjure up, shall I? The last audio recorded by the helm coders of Unknown Iron Hands Legionary, recovered in the wake of the Vraden IV massacre. Rejoice and embrace your fate in bliss, for you die by the blade of one of Fulgrim's chosen, and your death signals... Oh, bugger. Well, there you go. He did say no one gets it right first. Swing and a miss. So, rejoice and embrace your fate in bliss, for you die by the blade of one of Fulgrim's chosen, and your death signals another step forwards on the road to perfection.
Very well done, mate.
3 out of 10.
just insert perfection. And the road to perfection.
Yeah, I'll just have to record each word and then drop it in. What was the word I fell down on? Signals.
Signals. That was it. And deaf the other night. Deaf was the other one. You're saying deaf.
Oh, yeah.
Why can't I say deaf?
I'm allergic to death.